Welcome to the case study on energy and digital financing in Burkina Faso session. We're both, Janine and I, from the UN Capital Development Fund, which is the UN's agency that seeks to use capital for development in an impactful way, and really looking at the introduction to ourselves. I think you can read from the program, but Janine is the country lead of UNCDF in Burkina Faso. Myself, I lead the energy program at UNCDF. So this is the structure of the presentation. UNCDF itself is, like I said, the catalytic financing entity for LDCs. And we have a unique mandate among UN agencies that we can work directly with private sector entities and can do also non-grant financing. So we do have loan and guarantee capabilities. And really the idea is to support the whole flow of capital into the least developed economies. Our background is very strong in financial inclusion, which we now have rebranded as inclusive digital economies. But we also have capabilities and experience in local transformative finance, which means essentially working with local and subnational governments and entities on finance. And you see there also three major thematic priorities, which are in a sense also cross-cutting. One is climate, energy, and nature assets. One is women economic empowerment. And then finally, we have sustainable food systems. And of course, all of these themes, I think, fit very well with this meeting here in Luxembourg. Burkina Faso is a country, as you know, in West Africa, which is landlocked and which has significant challenges, not only in terms of economic ones or financial inclusion, but it has political challenges. And in particular in energy, the access to basic energy services is extremely low, in particular in rural areas where very low percentages of the population have access to any form of clean or reliable energy at all. And the fund that we've set up in Burkina Faso 4 years ago was modeled around a sort of a challenge fund type of call, where we invited companies to submit proposals to actually address this particular challenge and to strengthen the economic resilience and adaptation of climate change solutions by most vulnerable segments of the populations, and targeting in particular women, young people, and small farmers, small businesses. And you see there some of the ways we were able to do that over the last couple of years. So we had direct support to private sector entities, including MFIs, but mostly actually focusing on energy service companies. And I just will digress very quickly, if you'll allow me. UNCDF, when I started working on energy thematic areas with UNCDF 10 years ago, the entry point we thought was through microfinance institutions to provide loans for energy solutions. This approach proved to be very challenging, and at the same time there was also a big change in the market, because you had the emergence of pay-go solutions, which was riding on mobile payments, in particular in East Africa, that then all of a sudden came on the scene and offered these new business models. So you may have heard of the M-Kopa model, for example, which relied on a totally different approach to financing energy solutions at the last mile. So we will touch on some of these areas later on, but essentially this program looks at various aspects, and it's sector-wide. We recognize it's complex and there are many things to do. And raising awareness is a key thing also that we recognize has tremendous importance in promoting green solutions. This is just to very quickly show you also what the different pathways UNCDF can adopt in what we call an investment continuum approach, where we work with companies or, for example, microfinance institutions, where early on, at an early stage, we do a lot of direct support grant financing, but the end goal is commercial investments. And we have a couple of different ways to get there, including towards the end, sort of a semi-concessional component, which can then also involve an external fund manager that can provide loans and equity investments in particular projects. So we start to dive a bit in the specific Burkina Faso situation, where we took both an ecosystem approach in terms of working with a variety of different partners to create a more vibrant last mile energy market. And we also adopted, it's slightly mislabeled here, but a market systems development approach. And some of you may be familiar with that. That's according to DCED standards, which has an adopt, adapt, expand, and react phase to the model. And essentially what that means is we are initially testing something and making some changes through lessons we learn. And then the hope is that we achieve consolidation and scale. So I don't think we've reached a scale proposition in Burkina Faso as yet, but we've definitely made headway in the earlier adapt and adopt phases of this program. And this required working with all these levels of the energy ecosystem. And again, this may also resonate with you as you discuss on the inclusive finance agendas, how you interact with sort of real economic thematic areas, agriculture, energy, forest, food security, and so on. There's a whole layer of different players at different levels that must be included and involved in providing solutions. So now I hand over to my colleague, Janine, who will dive a bit deeper in the specific Burkina Faso situation and model.
Thank you, Vincent. So you were just talking about the new market system approach. So indeed, it's an innovative market system approach. And so you can see all the partners that we have in this project. We have some energy service companies. We do have some financial service providers. We have 2 of them. So the ESCO, we have a total of 10 ESCOs that were supported. And we have also a payment service providers who actually in the center will work on a platform where we will have the ESCOs integrated system that could provide actually the pay-go system to them. So end user beneficiaries will be able to access the equipment as well as access also energy through this platform and have flexibility of payments, which is very great for them, because when we talk about low-income population, so they need to have flexibility because of the cost of the equipment and as well as the cost of electricity. Okay. For the results, the overall of the results of the project that we have more people benefiting from renewable energy solutions, about 50,000. So we have 48,000 here. We also have the equipment, sold, about 9,000. We do have new job creations. So direct jobs as well as the commission base also. In terms of carbon offsets, we have about 9,000 of carbon offsets. And as I just mentioned, we have around 16 partners that were supported by this project via, you have technical assistance, you have grants, and also loans. The case study here that we want to present is for one of our partners, ICBD, Ingénieur Conseil Biodesign. He has a project in the center of Burkina Faso, so around 100 kilometers of the main city, Ouagadougou, and using actually is promoting access to renewable energy, water, and sanitation for the population of Koudougou. Koudougou is the name of the place. And so for this one here, for our project, ICBD benefited from $85,000 US dollars, and is supposed to work with 20 groups, a group of 12 group of women and 8 group of youth, working on solar powered irrigation pump system. ICBD is a model where our partner allies digital tools to provide access to energy for water, for vegetable productions in this area. So for these women, actually leading to food security, of course. For this project, actually, what we have at the result, it has actually a year of work for this project. And we have like 400 people working on 2,500 square meters of land. We also have like 20 gardens with precision watering control by a technological system linked to PEGO. We have 50% in agricultural yields, and we do have also a reduction of water bills, around 50% of water bill reductions. The most important actually of this project here was the flexible payment of the services that these women and youth will have using his products, and also the new mechanism that is being used in this system. So here we will actually listen to the promoter of ICBD. The video is in French, but we'll go ahead and translate and explain it how it works.
Nous sommes présentement sur le site de Kassou 1 de Koudougou, où nous faisons la production maraîchère avec le groupe de femmes. Nous avons au total 12 groupes de femmes et 8 groupes de jeunes. Les productions maraîchères qu'on fait, surtout, c'est l'oignon, les concombres, la tomate, le chou. Voilà. Et on a implanté, c'est les forages, les systèmes de pompage, les châteaux, et les systèmes d'irrigation. Il y a aussi le dispositif PayUgo. Tout cela fonctionne donc à l'énergie solaire. Le système PayUgo, c'est un système donc, que nous avons conçu nous-mêmes. Et ça permet donc de gérer rationnellement l'eau, étant donné que sur chaque site, et il y a plusieurs groupes qui interviennent. Il fallait donc diviser en parcelles. Et que pour permettre l'arrosage, plus faciliter l'arrosage, il fallait un dispositif pour gérer ça de façon automatique. Donc, c'est pour cela qu'on a mis en place donc, le système PayUgo que nous appelons Home Cash. Donc, c'est un dispositif qui permet de laisser passer l'eau ou de couper selon qu'on a chargé notre barge, parce que c'est un système donc, qui nécessite l'utilisation des barges connectées à une plateforme. Pour le fonctionnement, l'utilisateur arrive tout simplement au niveau de ce boîtier, poser donc son badge. Lorsque donc le badge il est chargé ou pas, il y a un voyant qui s'allume. Si le voyant s'allume, ça montre que soit le badge n'est pas donc affecté à ce dispositif, soit il n'est pas chargé. Donc, si le badge est chargé, normalement, ça clignote vert. Il y a une application web et mobile, homecash.net. Homecash, si ça clignote vert comme ça, l'utilisateur peut appuyer sur ce bouton pour que l'électrovanne puisse laisser passer l'eau. Donc, quand vous appuyez, ça laisse passer l'eau. L'eau est en train donc de passer.
Okay, so it just show a badge, you know, that the end user will acquire. So women, the group of women or the group of youth, they will acquire this badge, and it's linked to either the bank account or the mobile device. They will charge it, and so this will allow them to get some water out of this pump. And it's measured water. So how it is, there's no waste on it. So how much water do you need? So it's all controlled. Whenever this card is empty, they will, you know, as soon as they just push it on the machine over there, it will show zero, like, you know, it's red light. And, you know, whenever they have like a little bit of, you know, cash on it, it will be green. So we know that rural women, they're not like, you know, most of the time literate. So this is the way of showing them. So they goes by color. And also they get like, with this project, they are able to get like financial educations. They are able also to get like education on, you know, forestry, agronomies, because they have like, whenever they get the card, it comes like, you know, with technical assistance as well. So they have the product and they will have also a technical assistant that will be there to help them, you know, in their vegetable productions, the whole thing. So they will have also a guarantee with the product that they have. And for some of the group that would like to own the pump, like, you know, the whole system, they have also flexible payment for that. So they could lead it to add it to the card that they have. So they get the service, and also they will get a flexible payment to acquire the whole equipment, you know, later on. So it will be theirs. So for the projects, actually, I just mentioned that ECBD was able to get 85,000 from UNCDF, so from the support of, you know, these projects. And also he was able to raise funds. So about $80,000 that he raised. So 20,000 were to be reimbursed like in 6 months. The rates were going from 0 to 50%. And also the 60,000 will be used like, you know, for his business development. So the Koudou region was the first region he has to work on, installing like up to 5 systems. And right now he's exploring to actually develop the system in different regions where they have like, you know, lack of, you know, vegetable production. I just want to, can you come back a little bit? So in the same project, I've mentioned the payment service provider that we have is called InTouch. So he's working closely with InTouch, develop also some new products, like, you know, that will be linked to the digital because they have a platform, and, you know, whenever companies are integrated, they will show also, they will, you know, send the needs so that, you know, with the needs, they will see what product can be like, you know, really adapted to these populations, you know, to the last mile, you know. Go ahead. So for the positive outcomes that we have, so the results are very encouraging because women are, you know, getting really interested on the system that they have. They have like a much, you know, production, like a very big production of the vegetables in their regions, which, you know, actually gives like a big impact on food security in the region. And they are trying to develop like, you know, they're trying to develop an counter-season actually products in the same areas, because now that, you know, water is available, they're seeing, you know, how they can benefit from that, you know, and have like, you know, more impact in the region. So how does the monitoring and evaluation goes? This is for the project overall. It's actually a result-based financing. So they do have, on the, work plan, they have like indicators, they have target to reach, and all the money. So for the whole project, we have, the grants are going like from 50,000 to, up to 150,000. And so it's actually disbursed like, by tranche, and also by reaching, of course, the targets, the different targets. And we do have quarterly meetings with them. We also have site, assessments. We have to go, so we do monitor, we have to go through the site, see exactly, what is being done on the site. And, after all, the assessment, so we do an evaluation prior of, dispersing, the finance. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Janine. Yes, and we're repeating some of these lessons in this slide, but overall, we can say that we've learned a lot in terms of how this is able to contribute to individuals' ability to deal with climate change and to increase economic resilience. This is clear from surveys we have undertaken with the clients, where a lot of positive feedback has come through, also with a range of different technologies. So some technologies could be quite simple solar lighting installations, but also, as Janine has indicated, we have solar irrigation, for example, which is something that is much more complex to implement, but has a much stronger productive use component to the energy technology. We can say that there is now really a more active last mile energy service company market in Burkina Faso. By no means it's enough to cover all the demands. You saw the outreach figures in the beginning are quite modest, but we can see a very strong upward trajectory, even though there's a high level of political instability and even quite a modest amount of foreign funding actually available. We do see growth in the market. We also have seen, and I think this example showed it very well, how digital can actually enable access to people that are maybe difficult to reach in person. And PayGo technology offers all kinds of ways in which people can financially deal with amortizing assets or by paying for a specific service over time. MFIs have provided assistance, but I think it's still early to say that we've engaged the MFI sector in a very large way. But in my view, this still is very important because some of the assets or some of the services are very costly. And for PayGo service providers, it's also not always easy to raise capital to the level that they require to distribute and to scale up their operations. So linking energy companies to local financial institutions, including banks, is necessary both for consumer level financing as well as financing for the business models themselves, which are very capital thirsty. There's a lot of also feedback we've also gotten from various, especially productive use equipment, that this is not always completely attuned or tailored to customer needs. So in particular, when we look at, and I'm talking here beyond also Burkina Faso, but we've looked at cooling technology, basic milling technology, solar irrigation, and these type of products are very difficult actually to get right for individuals. And sometimes it works better indeed, like the Janine example is when groups of people are able to access these solutions together. We notice that a lot of the activities that our clients have been involved with the clients are women and or female-headed households. And we think that there's a tremendous opportunity to look at this segment with much more intent. As you know, on the energy space, a lot of drudgery and work is done by women, and in some cases almost exclusively by women, on clean cooking, firewood gathering, but also, for example, having no access to reliable lighting, which in some cases also can reduce security around households and so on. So we think that the opportunity lies really in the future to look at all these SDG co-benefits that are possible to be achieved in addition to finance and energy. And then finally, I was in a session before this one on forestry. We are looking at the voluntary carbon market, or maybe even at the Article 6, the compliance market, as ways forward in terms of, in particular for cooking solutions, on how communities and individual households can benefit from carbon flows to make business models more sustainable. And we think this is a very big growth area in the future, and something that also MFIs might be interested in looking at more carefully. So we've rifled through our presentations quite quickly. The two QR codes are, in the first case, a fact sheet which gives an overview of this program on a 1-2-pager summary basis. But then we also have a much more detailed case study in French. Only this one is available. The other one is available in English and French. But the case studies dives deep into many of the business models we have supported. And that would provide maybe some real interesting insights in terms of the particularities of specific energy service companies, the role of MFIs, incubators, and so on. So you can get much more detail if you're interested to look at that. And also, as you see, sorry, I bought some of our own banners, but there's a QR code here also, which gives an overview of our global program in energy access and how it relates to financial inclusion. And now, actually, we would like to open the floor. I had hoped we may have a few more people, but I'm very hopeful that we have some curious people in the audience who want to ask some questions or engage with us a bit. That would be really great. Yes, please.
Thank you. They have to open, first of all, they have to own, like, a smartphone. So they have to open an account, a mobile money account. And from there, they have a choice actually for the particular service companies, energy service companies. They can have it directly, they can charge it directly through the microfinance account that they have, or they will do it through the mobile phone, the mobile account, the wallet. So it's either way, both works. And so, of course, while opening the account, they have to sign, to go through the process, and they have, of course, a policy for consumers' protections, definitely. Okay, due to the to the level, because in the last miles, as I've just mentioned, they're not quite much literate, so they would not go deeper in explanation of all the the giving them ideas on transparency. They will give them some insights for the chief, the leader of the group, because the cards are not individual. I have to precise. It's the group cards. I talk about 12, group of women. So they have each group has a card. And then, when individual wants to go and use it, the person will go. So most of the time when they do the training, they will do the training for, leaders, the one that are, a little bit they get a little bit of education and, can much more understand and then translate it to, relate, the information to the rest of the group. But of course, we go through, all the process. We make sure that, prior of getting the card, they understand, all what goes with it, all the policies and regulations that, accompanying that.
And if I may add to that, I think tomorrow, unfortunately, I'll not be here, but there's going to be an interesting session on PAYGO and PAYGO Perform, which is a platform that is I think well on the way to building some sort of industry standards and norms on PAYGO performance. 80% of the clients with big PAYGO companies are now part of this performance monitor. And this also has an element of client protection, because as we know, in the PAYGO sector, there is a lot of challenges. A lot of the repayment rates are actually very problematic at this stage. And but we still see it as a very interesting area of growth that can also in the future be applied to things like e-cooking and new technologies that have much stronger links also to the carbon markets in future. So we're still very excited. There are a lot of teething problems, yes, but we also can learn lessons from the more traditional MFI sector, I think, in this sector, and hopefully not repeat some of those errors.
Okay.
Yes, UNCDF is actually a member of the steering group of this PAYGO Perform monitor. Yes.
No.
Sorry, I see the gentleman raising his hand back there. Yes. Well, cash flow is the essential juice behind PAYGO model viability. But what you also describe in terms of the use of the equipment, for example, that's almost like a holy grail sort of objective. Because, for example, if you can tell exactly how much a household is using a clean cook stove and displacing traditional biomass energy, for example, you have much more powerful ways of measuring carbon offsets than now presently is done through modeling with FERR and others. And I'm sorry not to pick on one particular agency, but we know that this has gotten quite a bit of controversial publicity recently. But I believe that digital can actually enable a lot of, like what you say, real-time payment data, which can tell us a lot about also the ability of customers to pay, but also use data of equipment. And this, I think, is definitely part of the future. No question about it. But it's still early. We can't say we have thousands of clients from which we can derive algorithmic sort of information. Please. I think especially we found with some of the productive use larger equipment, this has not always been easy for the customers, or the models may not have been as reliable as expected. You can please elaborate on that. So basically there was a problem that some of the equipment wasn't as reliable or didn't perform as customers expected. And of course, the more complex you make this equipment, the risk of that is higher if the companies are not very finely attuned with market demand. So I think one of the solutions obviously is to do much more smart demand side market scoping before things are launched. Because a lot of these models tend to sort of parachute into different countries, and people generalize even between countries, while there may be very different ways in which people use equipment or even cook their food or whatever. So I think that's still an ongoing challenge, particularly for productive use equipment. We're not yet out of the woods, but we're looking at that.
Figure out how to kind of adapt that to make it also visible to use and the new risks that are emerging.
I mean, the thing with you know, you add sort of exponential complexity, while before with lights or solar home system, it's a sort of linear step process. But now we're also looking at, for example, linking people to markets and making sure they have opportunity to actually profit from their livelihoods more. And yeah, there are a whole variety of things. So I know also, yeah, the Global Off-Grid Lighting Association has been pushing very much the cooling potential. You know, decentralized cooling solutions. So I think these are very interesting products, but it's true, we need to still find out a lot about how viability looks like, especially in remote and hard to reach client segments. That remains a challenge, no doubt. Yes, in the back. Hello. Data. TA.
The group of the badge. Okay. Is it? I did not quite understand the question, but is it for the use of the badge, the women? Yes. Yes, thank you. Once actually the group acquired the badge, I say that it comes along with technical assistance. So to help them in the production, in the vegetable production. So they will tell them, for instance, they will teach them in financial education, of course. They will train them, they will get some training, women empowerment, entrepreneurship, because this use, I mean, they will do like a domestic use of the, you know, the production, of course, and then they will also develop like, you know, some activities like, you know, income generated activities with those actually products. So they will sell them. So they will have, it comes with technical assistance to show them how to use and to get like the seasons and the products, and also to show them also the use of fertilizers, and also the use of the machine, the whole system itself, how much water you use for this or that, vegetables, and how it works. So, and also developing the different lands. So acquire more lands, and, work on, context season products as well. Of course. Yes, they have TAs, definitely TAs. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it depends on the needs. As I said, the groups are not at the same level. And, once they get the incubators or the technical assistants will, just do an assessment and see, what do they really need, and then they will go from there. If they have to go from scratch, or, if they have, a certain level from those who have worked already, in the vegetable production.
But I think that, what you may be also referring to is the ag tech space is something still, I think that's potentially there, but not yet quite. When I think also of generally the energy space, it's very difficult to build a unit economics model that you can apply across the board, even to very similar solutions. This is much easier to do in microfinance. But with different energy products and services that also expand to productive use, to build unit economic models, which then can be used both by clients at the ground level and investors that may want to invest in the future in these type of businesses. I think there's a lot more research and work to be done. I mean, we're very grateful. I see Hedera, our supporter, is in the corner there, yes. And, the importance of gathering data and lessons in this space, and having sort of central repositories for this, where we can extract this in the future, hopefully in a high-touch way, not only in an AI way. But I think that will be essential to learn where we move ahead with these different models. But yeah, the potential with these digital applications is clearly still very immense. Yes. Please.
Thank you. It's totally up to the groups, actually. The badge, when they acquire it, they will let them know what services actually they want to. And they will have like a programmation on the badge directly, will be linked to the badge that they have. And so while doing the payment, they will specify exactly what are they paying. But for the water, usually once they put it on the pump system, they will just get the water. But after that, since I say that, they could have the option of directly paying from the bank account, from the microfinance bank account that they have, or doing the mobile, but it will be more probably on the bank account that they will do the, payment for the equipment. But I think that takes long because it's very expensive for them. So, they will just choose the option, and then they will go with the partners to see, how they want to make the payment.
I mean, it's a very good question, because one of the assumptions that was pushed very early on, I think also in the Pego industry, is that people want to own their own assets and their own solar panel, their own equipment. But, you and I, we don't own the generator that makes electricity in our life. So I think a fee-for-service model is also becoming very prevalent everywhere. And I think the jury is very much out on what is preferred. Some people do like to have their asset and they have more control over it that way. And if they amortize it over time, they have full control. Then you have sort of the lease model where the control and the kill switch is still centrally managed. And this has unique positives and negatives. And then you have fee for service where clients don't pay for the asset at all, but only for services. So there's all kinds of ways you can mix and match, if you like, these type of solutions, but all with unique challenges and business model, of course, which investors also find difficult then to untangle and to understand. This is one of the key challenges, how we crowd in bigger money to scale up these solutions. We're still at a very early stage, I would argue, in this space. Yep. I know we are, you have to catch some dinner and then catch the bus to EIB. So thank you very much. It was very engaging, actually. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Compared to some sessions, we had a lot of questions. So thanks very much.
Thank you.